Hey, good. How you doing? How you doing? Welcome to my channel, the Underrated Darkness. This is welcome to my channel, Underrated Darkness. Yo, truly the number one grinder, one of the best kept secrets on YouTube. Um, we're gonna have another underrated music talk. We're gonna read about the late great Curtis Mayfield, one of the co-founders of the Oppressions, and he went on to have, and he did very well. The Oppressors, I believe he was with them. I said about 12 years. They had a number of hits in the '60s, and even like when he left the Oppressors in 1970. You know, he he still right. They still did the Oppressors still did okay. So we just waiting for some people to come in. So welcome. So we waiting for some more people to come through. Let's see. Hello. Yes. Welcome, Brother Lou. If you can hear me, press one. If you can hear me, press one. Hello. Yes. Welcome, Brother Lou. If you can hear me, press one. 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 Hit another one again if you can hear me, because I'm just testing this out. Then we're gonna get this going. Okay. Cool. Okay. We gonna give. All right. We gonna give it like I said. Let me see what's up, yo. Graphics and see. Background. Let me see. This is just getting rid of this is restream. So just bear with me first off. So yep, so I'm gonna play a clip for y'all to see how you like it. See how you like it. All right, that's one of the video clips that they had on Restream. So so we're gonna get to the story of the late great Curtis Mayfield. It's long enough. Um, like I say, for he's one of the greats. Yeah, he's one of the greats, y'all. Trust and believe, one of the greats. One of my inspirations, so we're gonna get this going. Welcome to my channel, Underrated Darkness. Yours truly, the number one grind, one of the best case secrets on YouTube, the best of the business. Respect my existence. Appreciate that y'all tune in to this, another underrated music talk. All right, so good evening to everybody. So this is the late great Curtis Mayfield. Curtis Lee Mayfield, the late great one. Curtis Lee Mayfield was America's singer, songwriter, guitarist, and record producer, and one of the most influential musicians behind soul and political conscious African American music. I would have to change that of popular music. You see how they always try to label us as one or two gender. No, he's in popular music. I need to throw that in. He was born June 3rd. I was born June 4th, so I'm a Gemini like he is. He was born June 3rd, 1942. He passed away December 26th. He was born in Chicago, Illinois. Then he passed away in December 26th, 1999, Roswell, Georgia. Spouse, Athea Mayfield. Then he had a child on Todd Mayfield. Let's see. He was America singer, songwriter, guitarist, and record play, record producer, one of the most influential musicians behind soul and political consciousness, African American music. He first achieved success in recognition with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee group The Impressions during the Civil Rights Movement in the late 1950s and the 60s. Like I said, I think it was around 58. Then he left the Impressions in 1970. So he been there, like I say, for like a few minutes ago, 12 years. A lot of hits in the 62. You throw that in. And later worked as a solo artist. Mayfield started his musical career in a gospel corps, moving to the north side of Chicago when he met Jerry Butler in 1956 at the age 14, then joined the vocal group The Impressions. As a songwriter, Mayfield became noted as one of the first musicians to bring more prevalent themes to social awareness into soul music. That is true. In 1965, he wrote People Get Ready for the Impressions, which was ranked number number 24 on Rolling Stone's list of the 500 greatest songs of all time. The song received numerous other awards and it was included in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. 500 songs that shaped rock and roll, as well as being selected into the Grammy Hall of Fame in 1998. After leaving the Impressions in 1970, the pursuit of his solo career, Mayfield released several albums, including the soundtrack of the Black exploitation film Superfly in 1972. That he did. That was his first soundtrack he did. Throw that in. The soundtrack was noted for its social conscious themes, mostly addressing problems surrounding intercity minorities such as crime, poverty, and drug abuse. The album was ranked at number 72 at Rolling Stone list of 500 greatest albums of all time. Didn't know that. Mayfield was paralyzed from the neck down after lighting equipment fell on him during a live performance at the Wingate Field at Flatbush Ave. That's Wingate High School in Brooklyn. That's where I was from, Brooklyn. So I know that. That's when they used to have like the old school um musicians to play there at the time. Need to throw that in. Despite despite he continued his career, no, I mean at Flatbush, Brooklyn, New York, August 13, 1990. That's when it happened. Um, okay, despite that, continued his career as a recording artist, releasing his final album, The New World Order, in 1956. Mayfield won a Grammy Legend Award in 1994 and a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award in 1995. He is double inductee into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a member of the Impressions in 1991 and again 1999 as a solo artist. He was also two-time Grammy Hall of Fame inductee. He died of complications of two types of diabetes at the age 57 on December 1999. That's young folk. That's young family. That's young. He's the son of Marion Washington and Kenneth Mayfield, one of five children. Mayfield's father left the family when Curtis was 5. His mother and maternal grandmother moved the family into several Chicago public housing projects before settling in Colby Green during his teen years. Mayfield attended Wells Community Academy High School before dropping out of his second year. His mother taught him piano along with his grandmother, encouraged him to enjoy gospel music. At the age of 7, he sang publicly at his aunt's church at the Northern Jubilee Singers. Yeah. Mayfield received his first guitar when he was 10. Later recalled that he loved his guitar so much that he used to sleep with it. He was self-taught musician, but he grew up admiring blues singers Muddy Waters and Spanish guitarist Andres Segovia. Hey, Juan G, what's good? Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming. Sister Nice, thanks for coming. Appreciate that. When he was 40 years old, he formed the Alphatones. When the Northern Jubilee gospel singers decided to try their luck downtown Chicago, and Mayfield stayed behind the fellow member Sam Gooden that later on he went to join them the Impressions. Need to throw that in. Was quote that it would be nice to have him there with us, but of course your parents had the first say. Later in 1956, he joined a high school friend, Jerry Butler. They became best friends. They best friends even before that. Throw that in too. The Roosters were brothers Arthur and Richard Brooks. He wrote and composed songs for the group who would become the Impressions 2 years later. Career. Now we're going to read about the Impressions. Mayfield's career began in 1956 when he joined the Roosters and Arthur, Richard Brooks, and Jerry Butler. I did say 1958, but it was 1956. I stand to be corrected. 2 years later on the Roosters. Now, oh, I was right. Later the Roosters now included Sam Gooden became the Impressions. The band had 2 hits with Butler, For Your Precious Love, that Jerry Butler had sang lead on that. Also, Curtis Mayfield played, late great Curtis Mayfield played the guitar on that. You need to hear that. One of the songs very underrated. Very underrated. Need to throw that in. Come back my love. That and yeah, and that's another song. Then Butler left. That's when Jerry Butler left and he went on to have an outstanding solo career. But time again during the 60s, he did work with the Impressions and stuff like that. I need to throw that in, okay? Because they're not gonna say that. Okay. Mayfield temporarily went with him and co-write performing on Butler's next hit. He Will Break Your Heart before returning to the Impressions with group singing for ABC Records and worked with the label Chicago-based producer A&R manager Jerry Pate. A&R Jerry Pate was an AR, and later on, he became the Impressions sometime producer, but mostly arranger. Need to throw that in. And also, he did some ranger of some of Curtis Mayfield solo projects in the 70s too. Need to throw that in. Butler was replaced by Fred Cash, a returning original Rooster member, and Mayfield became lead singer, frequently comparing for the band, starting with Gypsy Woman. That's back in the believe 61, 62, something like that. 1961, 1962. Stars Gypsy Woman, a top 20 pop hit, then hit Amen top 10. An updated version with an old gospel tune was included with the soundtrack of the 1963 United Artists film Lilies of the Field, which starred Sidney Poitier. The Impressions reached the heights of their popularity in the mid to late 1960 with a string of Mayfield compositions, including Keep On Pushing, People Get Ready, It's Alright, Top 10, Up Tempos, Talk About My Baby, Top 20, and Woman Got Soul. He formed his own label, Curtain Records in Chicago in 1968, and the Impressions joined him to continue their run of hits, including Fool of You, very underrated, need to check that out. That's back in 68. This Is My Country, that's 69. They don't say that, but I remember. Choice of Colors, that's 69. Check Your Mind, that's 1970. I think that's the last hit that Curtis Mayfield was with the Impressions. I mean, throw that in. Mayfield had written much of the soundtrack of the civil rights movement of the early 1960s, but at the end of the decade, he was a pioneer voice of the Black Pride movement along with James Brown and Sly Stone. Mayfield Will Winner was a last major hit of ABC, reaching number 14 of Billboard Pop Chart and number one of the R&B chart that became number one after Black Power, Black Pride. It released in late 1967, and it was part of the anthem throughout the late 1960s. I need to do that. And let me tell you, Will Winner, there's two parts. There's two parts to it. Let me throw that in. There's two parts. The Will Winner. So now everybody thought it's one part, but it's two parts. Hard to find it, but it's somewhere on YouTube. I think I found it, but it's two parts. Will Winner. I need to throw that in. Much of his early Keep On Pushing, whose title is quoted in the lyrics of Will Winner, also Move On Up. Move On Up. That's on late great Curtis Mayfield first solo LP named Curtis in 1970. Need to throw that in. Has been an anthem for Martin Luther King and the civil rights movement. Mayfield was a prolific songwriter in Chicago, even outside his work for the Impressions, writing, producing scores of many other artists, which he also owned at the Mayfield and Windy City labels, which were disputed of Campbell Parkway. Now let me stop there. Campbell Parkway. Campbell Parkway was in Philadelphia. Also, that's when they had Philadelphia greats in there too, and they formed their own thing. So I need to throw that in too. I didn't know they disputed on. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, disputed, but Campbell Parkway, and it was partnered by the Curtain, first independent, then disputed by Buddha, then Warner, then finally RSO and Thomas label, first independent, then distributed by Atlantic, then independently again, and finally Buddha again. Among Mayfield's greatest songwriter successes were three hits that he wrote for Jerry Butler on Wee J. He Will Break Your Heart, Find Another Girl, and I'm Telling You. His harmony vocals are very prominent. He also had great success writing and arranging Jan Bradley Mama Didn't Lie started in 1963. I didn't even do that. Wow. He was heavily involved in writing and arranging for OK Records, with Carl Davis producing, which included hits by Major Lance such as Yep, and The Monkey Time, as well as Walter Jackson, Billy Butler, and Artistics. This arrangement ran through 1965, and I'm gonna leave right there. I might do a story underrated music talk. I might do something about Major Lance too. I'm gonna get back to it. Okay, we're gonna get back to solo career. I just want to say this that um when Curtis Mayfield worked with the late great Major Lance. Also, Major Lance did some writing too, and they was gay play from Chicago area, and they made some hits too. And I really believe if they would have like kept it going with Curtis Mayfield writing, arranging, and Major Lance writing and stuff, and his charisma and stuff, I really believe that Major Lance he was headed of being a household name. He was right there. He was right there. But what happened was with Curtis Mayfield, they left. We're gonna read about that too. Or if not, I'll tell you about that. Major Lance, he stuck with the record label, but that's when Curtis Mayfield and Pressure they went, and while the liquid Major Lance took the. I just want to throw that in. All right, just want to throw it in and let you know. Wait, but they're not gonna tell you that. Now we're gonna read about solo career of the late great one, Curtis Mayfield. In 1970, Mayfield left the Impressions and began solo career. Curtin released many of Mayfield's 1970 records as well as records by the Impressions. He still was, despite he left the Impressions, he still was writing for the Impressions too. He throw that in. Leroy Hudson, the Five Steel Steppers, the Staple Singers, Marvis Staples, Linda Clifford, Nate Natural Four, the Notations, Baby Huey, that all. Baby Huey, that he passed away in 1971 of a heart attack. And the Babysitters, Gene Chandler and Major Lance, who worked with Mayfield during the 1960s, also signed for a short stay at Curtin. Many of the label recordings were produced by Mayfield. Mayfield's first solo album that got said before was Curtis, was released in 1970 and hit top 20, as well as being the critical success of predated Marvin Gaye album What's Going On, although that came out in 1971. Get back to the story, to which it has been compared to addressing social change. The commercial and critical peak of his solo career came with Superfly, the soundtrack of Black Exploitation Superfly film, which sold over 12 million copies. Unlike soundtrack to other Black Exploitation films, most notable Ice Hayes scores for Shaft. That's in 1972 or 71. No, it's 71. I'm sorry. With glorified ghetto SS in the character, Mayfield lyrics consist of hard-hitting commentary, state of affairs in black urban ghetto at the time, well as the criticisms of several characters in the film. Bob Durant wrote in the Rolling Stone magazine in 1972, while the film message was diluted by social cross purpose because it glamorized medicinal cocaine consciousness. An anti-drug message of Mayfield soundtrack is far stronger and more definite than the film because of the tendencies of these black exploitation films to glorify criminal life of dealing pimps to target mostly lower black class audience. Mayfield album set the movie apart with songs Freddie's Dead, a song that focused on the demise of Freddie's, a junkie that was forced into push a dope for the man because of a debt that he owed to his dealer. And Push a Man, a song that reveals many people in the ghetto fell victim to a drug abuse, then therefore became dependent upon their dealers. Mayfield eliminated a darker side of life in the ghetto that these black exploitation films often fail to criticize. However, although Mayfield's soundtrack criticized the glorification of a dealer in piss, he no way denied that the glorification was occurring when asked the subject matter these films noted, quoting noted. I don't see why people complain about the subject of these films. The way you clean up the film is by cleaning up the streets. Now, I'm gonna stop there. I'm gonna continue. They always had these critics. They always said that we glorify what's going on. We just painting the picture that us as a people what we was living in. And I know people that had problems or asked black exploitation pictures and even the soundtrack, but they tell the story what we was living in. They was telling the story. They even there was message in these films that we could learn from it. But it's so funny that Hollywood was making money off it, but you got critics like them got the nerve to say certain stuff like that. But y'all was making money, right? And they still doing it today. So I want you to understand that, yeah, did they glorify? Yeah, they glorify, but they paint a picture of what we was living in. But also they failed to understand how we was fighting against the man that put us there. And it's still happening today. Now there's going to be some people going to think, oh, you put yourself in there, but the conditions has not changed. And that what the late great Curtis Mayfield is talking about. This is what he thought about until he passed away in 1999. And other ones, I need to put need to need to I need to I want to Jordan. I want y'all to understand that. I want you to really understand that. Let's continue. Along what's going on in Stevie Wonder's Intervisions, this album ushered a new social consciousness, funky style with popular soul music. He was dubbed by the Gentle Genius. The single released Freddie's Dead and Superfly E sold over 1 million copies and was awarded gold disc by RIAA. Superfly brought success that resulted in Mayfield's being tapped for additional soundtrack. Some he wrote and produced while having others to perform the vocals. Last Night in the Pits recorded Mayfield soundtrack Claudine in 1974. You need to watch that movie and get the soundtrack. One of the best works of Mayfield. One of the best works of the late great Curtis Mayfield. And also Last Night in the Pit. That's when the pit started moving up there into icon status. I need to throw that in. Last Night the Pips came out in the early, I believe late 50s or early 60s, something like that. So they've been veterans in this game singing and stuff. So I need to throw that in. Been going on almost 13, 14 years. I need to throw that in, okay? So Superfly brought success for results of Mayfield being tapped. Additional time, credit the producer having other perform Last Night in the Pits recorded Mayfield soundtrack. So Claudine 1974. Okay. While Aretha Franklin recorded soundtracks for Sparkle in 1976. Mayfield also worked with the staple singers of the soundtrack for the soundtrack on the soundtrack for the 1975 film Let's Do It Again. Now people say, well, I heard Let's Do It Again. That's with Bill Cosby, and Sidney Poitier. Great movie. I need to check it out. Let's do it again. And team up with Marvin Staples exclusively on a 1977 film soundtrack Piece of the Action. Both movies were part of a trilogy of films that featured in the acting of commit coming at com, why they got that scratched out? Comedian exploit of Bill Cosby and Sidney Poitier and were directed by Poitier. Yep, that's right, Sidney Poitier. In 1973, Mayfield released the anti-war album Back to the World, a concept album that deals with social aftermath of the Vietnam War, was criticized by the United States. The involvement was across the planet. One of Mayfield's most successful funk disc melodies was in 1977, Do Rap is Strong in Here, from his soundtrack to the Robert M. Young film of Miguel Pinero play Short Eyes. Yeah, he wrote a few soundtracks in the 70s, y'all. In his 2003 biography of Curtis Mayfield, People Never Give Up, author Pete Burns noted that Mayfield had 140 songs in the Curtin vault. Burns indicate that the songs were maybe already complete or in the stage of completion, so they could bring them be released commercially. Those recordings includes The Great Escape, In the News, Turn Up the Radio, What's the Situation, one recording labeled Curtis in Montreal Jazz Festival '87. Two other albums featured Curtis Mayfield present in the Curtin Vault, and yet unissued are 1982-83 live recording titled 26th Silver Anniversary, which features performance by Mayfield and the Impressions and Jerry Butler, and a live performance recorded September 1966 by the Impressions titled Live at the Club Chicago. In 1980, Mayfield decided to move to Atlanta with his family, closing down his recording operations in Chicago. The label had gradually reduced its size in its final 2 years, and so with release of the main RSO imprint and Curtin credit as a production company. Mayfield continued to record occasionally, keep the Curtin name alive for a few more years, and his tour worldwide. Mayfield's song "Don't Worry If There's Hell Below." That's on his first LP, 1970. Need to throw that in. We all going to go has been included an interest song of every episode of the drama series The Deuces. That also is in the first LP of his LP Curtis. Curtis in 1970. The Deuces tell germination of sex trade industry in the hearts of New York Times Square in the 1970s. Mayfield's career began to slow down during the 1980s. In his later years, Mayfield music was include movies I'm Going to Get You Sucker, Hollywood Shuffle, Friday, through Not on the Soundtrack album, Bandit, Like Beckham, The Hangover Part 2, Short Eyes, where he had a cameo role as a prisoner. Social activist. Mayfield sang openly about civil rights and black pride. He was known by his introducing social consciousness into African American music, has been raised in the Cabin Green projects of Chicago. He witnessed many of his tragedies of his urban ghetto firsthand. He was quoted saying, "With everything I saw in the streets as a young black kid, it wasn't hard during the later 50s and 60s for me to write my heartfelt way how I visual things. how I thought things ought to be. Following the passing of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, his group, The Impression, produced music that became the soundtrack to a summer of revolution. It even said that Keep On Pushing became number one singing along during the freedom rides. Black students sang their songs as they marched to jail or protest outside their universities. While King often used Keep On Pushing, People Get Ready, and We're Winner because they of their ability to motivate and inspire marchers. Mayfield had quickly became a civil rights hero with his ability to inspire hope and courage. Mayfield was unique in his ability to fuse relevant social commentary with melodies and lyrics that install a hopeful for better future in his listening. He wrote and recorded the soundtrack of the 1972 Black exploitation film Superfly with the help of producer and also, like I say, for arranger Johnny Pate. The soundtrack of Superfly is regarded as an all-time great body of work that captured the essence of the life of the ghetto while criticizing the tendencies of young people to glorify glamorous lifestyles of drug dealing pimps and eliminating the dark reality of drugs addiction and exploitation. Mayfield, alongside with several other soul accent funk musicians, spin messages of hope in the face of oppression, pride, and being a member of the black race, and give courage to a generation of people who were demanding that human rights. He had been compared to Martin Luther King for making a lasting impact to the civil rights struggle with his inspiration music. By the end of the decade, Mayfield was pioneer voice in the Black Pride movement, along with James Brown and Sly Stone. The late great Jim Brown and Sly Stone still living, paving the way for the future generation of rebel thinking. Mayfield paid the price artistically and commercial for his political charge in music. Mayfield Keep On Pushing was actually banned for several radio stations. Yeah, that's they was doing back then, y'all, including WWLS, his hometown Chicago. Regardless of the persistent radio ban and loss of revenue, he continued his quest to equal rights until his death. Yes, he was, Baloo. Exactly. Yes, he was. Mayfield also a descripted, deceptive social commentary as inflow of drugs rampantly through Black America in the late 1960s and 1970s. His bittersweet description of the ghetto was served as a warning to the impressionable. Freddie's Dead as a graphic tales of street life, which Pusher Man reveals the role of a drug dealer. Now, before I continue, um, remember the song "Ghetto Child Running Wild"? Now, a lot of people don't know that was not the original song of Superfly back in the soundtrack in 1970. He made that, I believe, like year and a half or two before that. There's unreleased that song. I forgot which LP it is, but it came on prevalent in 1972. But he made that, I believe, when he did when he did the LP Roots. He did an LP Roots. That's his second solo. That's back in '71. The name of the LP is Roots. I believe it was in there, or maybe it was in Kurt, maybe it was in Curtis, but it was like a extension. You know, they had the extension of certain unreleased stuff, something like that. But where I get them from? That he made that like a year and a half, 2 years before that. I need to throw that in. Just checking something out for. Hey, Cat PY2, thank you. That's my day one brother right there. Okay, follow the process of the Civil Rights Act in 1964. His group, The Impressions, produced many music, became soundtrack to the Summer of Revolution. Is even said that keep on pushing the number of sing along the Freedom Riders. Black students sang the song that marched in jail protesting. Oh, okay, I read that. I read that. Okay. Mayfield also deceptive commission. Okay, now we're gonna deal with we ain't got that much left. Life changing accidents of August 13th, 1990, Mayfield became paralyzed from the neck down after stage light equipment fell on him while he was being introduced an outdoor concert at Wingate Field in Flatbush, Brooklyn, New York. Afterwards, he was unable to play the guitar. He continued composing songs, which he found he could do by lying down and letting his gravity pull him up on his chest and lungs. In 1996, the New World Order was recorded that way, with vocals sometimes recorded in a line at a time. Okay, the final years. Mayfield received the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award in 1994 in February. In 1998, he has to have his right leg amputated due to diabetes. He was inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame on March 15, 1999. Health reasons prevent him to attend the ceremony, which includes fellow inductees Paul McCartney, Billy Joel, Bruce Springsteen, Just, Dusty Springfield, George Martin, and the 1970 Curtain singing and label mates, the Staple Singers. Um, Mayfield's last appearance on the record was group Bar Van 3000 on the song Astounded for their 2000 album. This was recorded just before his death and released in 2001. However, his health has steadily declined following his paralyzed. So his vocals was not new, but instead lifted by a Chi recording including Move On Up. Mayfield was married twice. He had 10 children from different relationships. At the time of his death, he was married to Alethea Mayfield. Together, they had 6 children. Salute to you, D. Hodges. Thanks for coming. Death, he died of complications, like I said, December 26, 1999, as I read, at the North Fulton Regional Hospital in Roswell, Georgia. He was survived by his wife, Alethea Mayfield, his mother, Marion Jackson, 10 children, 2 sisters, Carolyn Falls, Judy Mayfield, a brother, Kenneth Mayfield, and 7 grandchildren. Okay, Mayfield was among the first of a new wave of mainstream black R&B performer artists and composers injecting social commentary into the work. This message music proving immensely popular during the 1960s and 70s. Mayfield taught himself how to play, tuning to the first to the black keys of the piano, giving the guitar an open F sharp tuning that he used throughout his career. He primarily sang falsetto register, adding another flavor to his music. This was not unique itself, but most singers primarily in the modern register. His guitar playing, singing, and social aware songwriting influenced range of artists, including Jimi Hendrix, Bob Marley, Tracy Chapman, Sly Stone, Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder, and She O'Connor. I don't know where she comes from, but that's what it is. In 2017, it was reported that Lionel Richie had secured the rights to produce a Curtis Mayfield biographical. Why? Wow, I didn't know that. Biographical film. In a statement, he said, "I'm so grateful to be working with closely with Mayfield widow Aditya Mayfield, son of Chia Mayfield, and Curtis Mayfield stayed and couldn't be happy to be moving forward on this amazing project about one of a kind music genius." Aditya Mayfield added, "It's time to celebrate and reevaluate Curtis' legacy. For years, for many have tried to claim what he alone did. He was a genius. He was a genius. Always stood on his own." Okay, we just about finished. Anybody that wants to join the panel, please let me know. Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. If not, I said my last remarks and I close it out. Accolades. The Impressions 1965 film People Get Ready, composed by Mayfield, has been chosen one of the top 10 best songs of all time by the panel of 20 top industrial songwriters and producers, including Paul McCartney, Brian Wilson, Hal Davis, and others, reported to Britain Mojo Music Magazine. In 2019, Superfly was selected by the Library of Congress to preserve it in the National Recording Registry for being culturally, historical, and ethical significance. Rolling Stone ranking The Impressions hits People Get Ready and For Your Precious Love are both ranking on Rolling Stone list of 500 greatest songs of all time as number 24 and number 327, respectively. Mayfield is ranked number 34 on Rolling Stone magazine list of 10 greatest guitarists of all time. 34? You have to be kidding me. He should be higher than that. That's the one thing a lot of people don't understand. He was he played quite a few instruments, but his guitar work is very, very underrated. 34? But I know why. They put the rock and roll guitarist like that. But Curtis, late great one, Curtis Mayfield, his guitar is wicked. Very underrated, man. But they said 34, but I don't accept that. I said it should be higher than that. That's what I think. All right, Mayfield is is ranked number 40 on Rolling Stone list of 100 greatest singers of all time. Okay. Mayfield album Superfly is ranked number 69 on the Rolling Stone list of 500 greatest albums of all time. Okay. Mayfield is ranked number 78 on Rolling Stone list of 100 greatest songwriters of all time. In 2004, the Rolling Stone ranked Mayfield number 98 on their list of 100 greatest songs of all time. Wow. I, I, I don't believe that. The Impressions album's CD, The Analogy, of 1961 to 1967 is ranked 179 of Rolling Stone magazine 500 greatest albums of all time. You had to be kidding me. Awards and nominations. In 1972, the French Academy of Jazz awarded Mayfield debut and solo artist Curtis at the Otis Redding for Best R&B Record Hall of Fame. In 1991, along with his group of pressure, he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. In 1995, Mayfield was inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a solo artist and make him one of the few artists to become double inductees. No, I ain't gonna think about it. Okay. In 1999, Mayfield was inducted into the Songwriter Hall of Fame just prior to his death. 2003, as a member of Pressure, he was posthumously inducted into the Vocal Group Hall of Fame. Grammy Awards was nominated for 8 Grammy Awards during his career. He was the winner of the prestigious Grammy Legend Award and Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award. Then they were showing, hey, how you doing? What's up, sister community? How you doing? And then they were showing the chart, why he was nominated, the songs that the awards, for Grammy, 64, 72, 72, 72, 72, 1994, Legends Award. Yeah, he won. 1995, Lifetime Achievement Award, he won. New World Order, nominated, 97. Now when I read just the years, just understand he was nominated, just being nominated. That's why I'm reading like that. Now we get to the Grammy Hall of Fame. People get ready. By the Pressures Hall of Fame single inducted. Also Superfly 1998 inducted. People get ready. That was in 64. Superfly, that's the soundtrack, 72. Both of them was inducted in 1998. They show all the albums that he been on. Curtis 1970. Roots. I guess they showed solo. I'm surprised they didn't show the one in the press when he was precious. So I read Curtis 1970, Roots 1971, Superfly 1972, Back to the World 1973. That LP is very underrated. Clothing with Glass 1974. Y'all need to check that out. Sweet Estheticism. That's very underrated. That's 74. Got to Find a Way, also 74. Need to check that out. Let's Do It Again. That was the soundtrack 75. Need to check that out, y'all. Very underrated. There's No Place Like America Today. A lot of people don't like that, but I loved it. Give. Hold on, family. Okay. Give, Take, and Have. That's 76. Sparkle with Aretha Franklin. Same thing. That's for Short Eyes. There's another soundtrack he did, Short Eyes. That's 76. Never Say You Can't Survive. That's 77. And then the song that was Sparkle. I think Sparkle was a soundtrack. I think Sparkle was a soundtrack. I think, but he did. I think he did that too. And then he did Short Eyes in 77. Do It All Night 78. Now 78 that he was it was like Philadelphia that's what the Sounds of Philadelphia was doing their thing back in 19 in the 70s. Do It All Night. I think some of Philadelphia songwriters they wrote some stuff for that under that LP or Do It All Night in 78. Heartbeat 1979. Something to Believe in 1980. The Right Combination with Linda Clifford. Then they said, who's Linda Clifford? She said, Linda Clifford, that's the one she made. Remember that song she made 78, Runaway Love? Yeah, so that's the same one that she teamed up with Curtis Mayfield, 1980. Love is the place, 82. Honesty, now the 80, they was he was declining a little bit. Love is the place, 82, 83. Honesty, 83. We come in peace with a message of love, 85. Take it to the streets, 1990. New World Order. Filmographics who fly as himself, 72. Say the Children, 1973 as himself. Short Eyes as Poppy. Sergeant Pepper Lonely Heart Club Band, 1978 as a guest. So that was it. That's it for that. So anybody that wants to come on the panel, let me know. I send the link out. If not, I'll go and close it out. So anybody that wants to come up and talk a little about on the late great Curtis Mayfield, please let me know. I don't have no problem to send the link up there to y'all. Put the link in the chat. I'm still waiting. So Curtis, man, he did a lot, y'all. He did a lot. And I want to thank y'all to come to the next diversion of the underrated music talk. Okay, no problem. Anybody else that wants to come? Anybody else wants to come? Let me know. See something. Okay. Okay, no problem. Always the next time. Always the next time. So we're gonna close this out and make my last remarks. I want to thank you so much to come to another underrated music talk. We celebrate the late great Curtis Mayfield, an icon, for our people and throughout the world. I want to thank each and every one of y'all. I want you to connect with each other. And here, thank y'all so much. I really appreciate that you take the time to listen to me because you didn't have to. If you want to donate, my cash app is $ capital JT 53000, and also my the PayPal is paypal.me/ all in caps JT Black 53. And so if you want to donate, that'd be very much appreciated. If you don't have that, please hit the like button, share this out, and leave a comment, please. You gotta push stuff out like this. Gotta A lot of people don't know the history. All right. Now, also anybody that is traveling to your destination or home, if you're by yourself or traveling groups, thank you. I appreciate that, brother. Appreciate that, brother Lou. Um, please take extra safety precaution because the climate out there is it's not good. So we want y'all to be protected and be safe. Um, I might come and do another one. I don't know. I'm gonna do another live now. I don't know yet. But if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna add. It's gonna be panel participation. It's gonna be panel participation. I don't know yet. I don't know yet. I don't know yet. I don't know yet. But I will say this on behalf of my channel, on behalf of me, the Underrated Dog, Joe Street number one grinder. Please be safe out there. This one is Ghost. Have a good night. This one is Ghost again. Stay blessed.